So in this week, we would like to share with you the stories behind the most recent transactions that we just did. We have closed deals in different parts of the United States, and we believe that they are amazing deals, and we're looking forward to getting the operation started and doing our value add component. So let me tell you a little bit about the properties in Orlando. So we purchased this 102 unit deal in Orlando. It's 100 townhouses with 2 single family assets. It's inside a community with 3 different types of properties inside the community. We are individually folioed, individually able to sell these townhouses separately. Now, when I was underwriting this deal in particular, we were underwriting it to purchase it as a whole for our buy and hold rental model. They were built in 2004. They're beautiful product, really well constructed properties, great amenities, has a beautiful pool, clubhouse, kids playground. I mean, you walk to this place, it's gorgeous. Within the community, it has a beautiful lake. There's volleyball courts, tennis courts, basketball court. I mean, it has everything within the community. But it was a challenge. The property sits inside a master association where we couldn't rent the properties for longer than a year. Now, this is very common in Orlando. It's a very popular short-term rental city, and there's a lot of demand for that. But we're not in the short-term rental business. So we decided to look at this deal from a different perspective, and we looked at the deal as, can we sell these things individually? So that was our strategy. We transformed and adapted to it. I know me and my partners and on this transaction all share a single family flip background. We've all bought and sold single families, even though it's not a business model that I like anymore. But when you catch a low-hanging fruit like this, you got to grab it. So we ended up acquiring this deal. And before closing, we already had engaged local brokers to start getting a grasp and feel of the market. And the timing couldn't have been any better. The demand and the ramp-up demand for single-family housing in Orlando and most of Florida is so red hot that we were able to secure 30 contracts right after closing. Now, that's pretty incredible. And now to date, we have 52 executed contracts, and we expect to have the remaining units executed in the next 2 months. Now, it's pretty incredible. It's probably one of the best flips I've done in my career, and looking forward to it. So when we decided that we're going to execute the sales of these units, we needed to get the local experts. So we had interviewed a few local brokers, and we found a group in particular that we immediately hit it off, and just their attitude towards the sale of these units was different from the others. They just had a lot of confidence and a lot of off-market buyers that they were working with, and I saw their pool of buyers, and I was impressed how many they had already for this type of asset. Jeremy Gomez at G World Properties over in Orlando did a great job of communicating with us and instilling confidence in us that they could help us out execute this sale. And a lot of underwriting happened before the deal, and a lot of research, a lot of reviewing comparables, trying to predict where the market was going, even though it was a tough time during COVID, because that's kind of what we went under this contract. We were the middle of COVID when we went on the contract on this property. That's why I say the timing could have been better. Interest rates were amazing, shortage of inventory, and we knew that if we hired the best locally, they were going to help us execute our game plan. So this particular deal was not an investment for any type of investor. It was very challenging because our pool of investors and the culture around our business is mostly buy and hold multifamilies that are already cash flowing or has some form of cash flow in it. So the short-term rental restriction that we had in the community was crippling us in the sense that it was tough to raise the money. There was a lot of fear of becoming just a short-term rental property, an Airbnb, if we didn't exit on this sale. So if we would have ran into that situation, that would have been our plan B. we go into the Airbnb short-term rental business, which is not our forte at the moment. So it was a little bit riskier, but we found a group of investors that shared the same vision. You know, we were able to lower our risk by doing extensive amount of research, finding the absorption rate in the area, seeing the interest rates, seeing the amount of lack of inventory there was in single family housing in the market. So this wasn't something that we just wildly said, you know, let's do it. There was enough data and research to back up our confidence that we could sell these units individually. And we had raised enough money for holding, and we had raised enough money to do some improvements to the property. And what we ended up happening is that we did not have to do hardly any improvements to the property. We did not have to remodel the units, in particular because they were so well taken care of. The sellers did a great job of keeping this property in great condition. And that was one of the things that encouraged us the most on this deal. So I want to add something to this transaction, because sometimes you have to reach out for help to understand and get different perspective of individuals on a deal, especially when it's a deal that is untraditionally the one type of deal that you're used to buying. And bringing in a team, and all my partners in this transaction all shared different information about the deal, so it gives you a different perspective from different individuals. And I always strongly suggest this to any investor: when you are doing a transaction as large as, well, it doesn't have to be a large transaction, it could be any transaction, always reach out to people that you admire, people that are very knowledgeable of the business, to give you different perspective. You're going to be surprised that they're going to tell you that there's things that you're not seeing. You can even reach out to people that are not in particular in the business. Sometimes my best advice has come from people that are not multifamily investors. They might be residential brokers. They might be residential mortgage brokers. They might be architects. They might be contractors. You know, they could be in a different side of the business. Put something in front of them. Let them give you their perspective through their eyes, and you're going to get more information to be able to make that decision. So thank you for listening. Remember to follow me at abielballesteros.com, and I'll see you next time.